your team sucks recap. Week 9. Week 9 in the books. We're going to do it a little bit different today. We've been arguing quite a bit over George's top list here. It's from 32 to 1. So we're going to discuss that today. But first, I just wanted to talk to George here for a second. George, what jumped out to you about Week 9 in the NFL?
I mean, there was a lot of different things that jumped out. You saw all the old quarterbacks showing their age. We lost Breeze. Brady still hasn't looked good in a couple of weeks. There's a lot of different things. Miami's coming up. The Rams looking better. Minnesota's on the rise. I think a lot of things happen this week. We'll see what happens when the Cowboys come back to see if they fall to 32 or not. You know, things are happening.
So you have the Cowboys being a better football team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. And as we get into this list, I just want to say this, is that the first 2 weeks of the season, people thought the Jags were good, right? People thought the Jags were good. So what does that say about the NFL, the pandemic, and the first 2-3 weeks of the season? What it says is it didn't mean very much at all. It was basically preseason because there was no preseason, right? So as we go through this list, I want you to keep that in mind, specifically number 15, because number 15 lost to Seattle, and then they also lost to the Bills in the first couple weeks of the season. And then they won 5 straight. Then they just went on a roll after that. But I'm just looking at your list here, George, and we'll pass it around here. But right now, you got Steelers at number 1. You got them being a better football team than the Chiefs. You got the Saints being number 3 now, even with Breeze out. That's got to affect that. That's got to affect that ranking, I would imagine. So
I couldn't drop until I see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens with the team. I think they had a very old quarterback. Now they're going to have a young guy in there, but I don't believe he was the difference right now. I think the team is a well-coached, well-playing team, and they're going to be all right without Breeze.
With Jameis Winston, we're going to see.
They did it with Teddy Bridgewater last year. They did it with Teddy Bridgewater last year. He won 4 or 5. He looked quite good doing it. I think Winston is a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater is, and so I could see them doing it. He threw a lot of picks. He also threw a lot of touchdowns with the Bucs, but we're noticing Brady throw a lot of picks in that system too. So what do you say? He was in that Aryan system. You turn the ball over a lot.
Well, I've got good news for Luke too in Africa. Luke, you know what? The Cowboys did not lose this week.
There you go.
This week, of course, they didn't win either. So the Cowboys had the week off. George has got them ranked as the 3rd worst team. This has got to be hard for George to do, ladies and gentlemen. This is a diehard Cowboy fan right here. But I have to say, George is talking shit about the Miami Dolphins, saying that the Dolphin fans are somehow delusional. So I just have one question. One question, George. When is the last time, and Jordan, you can Google this, when is the last time the Dallas Cowboys won 5 straight?
My point to you was when you asked me that same question was, why does everything have to go back to the Cowboys? Because you love them. Deep down inside, you love them. You need the Cowboys. Whether they're good or bad, you need them in your life. And everything refers back to the Cowboys for you.
It's funny you say that because you're the one who referred to the Cowboys in the email. When you sent the list, I said, are you crazy? The Dolphins beat the Rams. The Dolphins beat the Cardinals. And you put the Vikings ahead of the Dolphins. And then you said, oh, God, the Dolphins are being delusional about how good they are and this and that, blah, 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 blah. And you brought up that you're the Cowboy fans, and I always refer to Cowboy fans as being delusional. You pointed that back at the Dolphins. So, therefore, I'm just asking you one question because I haven't drank the Fins Kool-Aid just yet. I think that they're definitely top 15. I think you're right about that, but I think they're better than the Vikings, though. But I haven't drank it yet, but I just want to answer that question. When's the last time the Dallas Cowboys have run 5 in a row? Because I don't think the Dolphin fans, they're excited, and maybe just a little delusional, but not when you win 5 games in a row in the NFL. You win 5 games in a row in the NFL. There's something to that. And if it's not 5 games early, it's 5 games after, the first 2 or 3 games of the season when everybody's starting to figure you out a little bit. So those are 5 good wins. And so except the Jets, that doesn't count. I'll give you that one. But Jordan, can anybody answer me? Viewers, anybody, when's the last time the Cowboys won 5 in a row?
I don't know.
Dak's rookie year.
I could see that. My problem with I think you do have the Dolphins a little bit low, a little hate there. I don't know how you have Atlanta and the Lions above teams like Carolina and the Giants, who I think are better than them.
I think the Giants are moving up.
Neutral field.
Yeah, that's how I kind of rank them. I kind of rank them as if they played this Sunday on a neutral field with the same rest, who would win the game?
And Atlanta would beat the Giants and Carolina.
Yeah, right now, I think so, yes. The Giants are coming up. They're starting to play good, but I'm not sure they're there yet.
And you have the Chargers. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Chargers beat the living crap out of the Giants right now. I'm pretty sure they do.
I don't know. I don't know about that. The Giants are up and coming right now.
Looking good.
You predicted that the Chargers were going to go into Miami and beat the Dolphins last week.
I did think they would. I did.
Yeah. And so you were thinking pretty good things about. I
mean, you guys act like I'm shitting on the Dolphins. I got them ranked 15th. Where the hell do you want them?
Well, above the Vikings, for sure.
I think places where they ranked as high as 5. I think at least they should be 10 or 11.
I think maybe I'm drinking a little bit of the Cook Kool-Aid too. I mean, I think the Cook's killing over there in Minnesota. They figured some stuff out. They're starting to really run the ball up on everybody, and they're going to be dangerous. And I think if they had to play Miami again in a neutral site, they beat the Dolphins.
Well, but by that same argument, right now, if the Dolphins played the Seattle again, it could be a totally different outcome.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And you and I talked about that quite a bit, George, is that Jordan was anointing them as the greatest thing ever. We were like, no, slow your roll, because Russell Wilson is having to do way too much for them to win games, and he's run out of gas. That's the worst. I think that last game was the worst I've ever seen Russell Wilson play. It was bad.
He's definitely tired.
Everything.
They need a break there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, the Steelers, the Steelers are interesting because they're kind of a very quiet, undefeated team right now, and they're not winning in like any kind of incredible measure. Except they're just all 3 phases incredibly solid. We'll see though, and I think as far as them going actually undefeated, I think the Chiefs are better right now, and I think the Chiefs would beat them if they play head up. But what's interesting is that, the Ravens are in their division, and the Ravens did not look good against the Patriots. And Jordan, are you ready to admit it, Jordan? Are you ready?
I don't think you can read almost anything into that game.
Boy, Lamar Jackson is not what you thought he was.
That was a weather game. It was pouring. The Patriots had been practicing in that weather. The Ravens had not. I mean, you can't overreact to that game, and I do think you have the Ravens way too low at 12. Way too low.
Wow. That's like that scene from Step Brothers when he's about to start singing and he makes up like 100 excuses about after he sang. I don't think so, man. But Jose Chi says my Giants are way too high. Got lucky against the Washington football team. I mean, somebody's got to win that effing division. Somebody has to actually win it.
Well, I'll tell you, I want to see a big tie.
Let's talk about that right now. Who wins right now? I'm going to go down the line right now. Luke, who wins the NFC East? Who wins it? I can't wait to hear this.
Honestly. I mean, if the Cowboys come back and do good, I'm gonna give it to the Cowboys. Maybe they get their shit together. Right
there. Of course, Luke picked the Cowboys to win the NFC East. Jordan, right now, who wins it?
Giants. They have a much easier strength of schedule coming up. The Eagles have a very hard strength of schedule. I only see one or two winnable. Well, they have the Giants and Washington left on their schedule, and other than that, they got really tough games. Whereas the Giants have an easier schedule, and unless the Cowboys come out of the bye looking like put together and using the talent the way we know they can, I'll give that division to the Giants.
All right, George.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you see my ranking. I got the Giants the best team in the East right now.
Yep. That is an incredibly difficult prediction to make. So let me ask you, how many are the Giants in first place right now?
I think it's tied.
Right now?
Yes. Yeah, they're in first place right now.
They're first? I don't even know.
No. The Eagles are in first right now at 4-5-1.
Newsflash. Wow. The NFC East truly sucks.
No doubt about it.
Really bad. In fact, I would predict that whoever wins that division and makes the playoffs is going to get absolutely rolled. Jose says the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. I mean, because of the tie. That's interesting. So, yeah, it could be it. The tie could be the actual difference. They're going to be, whoever has that one at the end of their record's going to win. So it's going to be like
that big tie,
5-10-1 wins the division.
Yeah, they're going to get in the playoffs for tying against the Bengals, right?
Look. All right, so I'm going to try to pronounce it. Is it Corrales? Wilson Rob?
Corrales.
Rob. He thinks, listen, I'm a Dolphin fan. I never hate on the Dolphins, but I am real about them. I think George has got him a little bit low, but I like where you're coming from, Corrales. I like it because right now, Dolphins strong in all three phases, and the young quarterback is getting better every week. Kid doesn't make mistakes. They're going to be in every game, and we'll see how they finish those games. And right now, they're finishing. One thing about the Dolphins that nobody wants to talk about is they got two damn shutdown corners. Two. And Big George is not acknowledging that in his ranking. They got two shutdown corners, and it allows them to do all kind of crazy blitz packages and to be very, very aggressive on that defense. All Tua has to do right now is not make mistakes. And, he's come close to making a few mistakes, but right now he's looking pretty good. So I tend to agree. I think the Dolphins should probably be right there around probably 11, 12, something like that. Where should the Dolphins be, Jordan, on this list?
9, 10 in that range. I would at least skip them ahead of the teams that they beat, like Arizona and the Rams.
Now, Luke, I know you're still in Africa and you haven't witnessed what the Dolphins are doing, but I'm pretty sure you can watch YouTube there and watch highlights of what Brian Flores has done with this team, and it's been pretty miraculous. Remember, this team was predicted to win what? George, win total for the season was 6?
Yeah.
5.5.
5.5. So that's out the window. And if you look at their schedule coming up, they could easily win 11, 12 games this year.
The next 3 are very winnable for sure. You got the Jets, Bengals, and Broncos. Yeah. They should take those. We'll see how they fare being favorites, though, in games. I might like them better as a dog. But here's one for you. When was there's only been one other quarterback to win his first 3 starts and throw no interceptions. Who was he?
Dan Marino.
No.
George?
No idea.
Which Cowboy quarterback is it, Luke?
Dak.
It was Carson Wentz, actually. But the point is, Tua could have thrown a couple picks in that last game. One particularly went right through the guy's hands. Should have been picked off. His receiver ends up catching it. Things are just falling right for the Dolphins. They're buying into the system. They're not penalized very well. They're getting a lot of lucky bounces. They're getting outgained in most of these games. Yet the turnovers, defense, they're playing really well.
They're playing complementary football. And they're playing it very well. They're very well coached. They remind me quite a bit of the New England Patriots and how they're coached. They just don't beat themselves. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to have – they do things differently every week. If you know football and you love football like we do, I watch for formations. I watch a lot of different things. You don't see a lot of the same formations for the Miami Dolphins on offense or defense. You see a different team every week. And Flores talked about that. They've asked him in all his press conferences, what do you do? What kind of package do you put together? And he said, well, we're different every week. It depends on who we're playing and what they do, right? That is the New England Patriots, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what Belichick did, and he was a disciple. And I think we may have finally found one, or really two. He's got him and his defensive coordinator. These guys were with the Patriots for a long time, and I think they were paying close attention because you can't name that many players on the Miami Dolphins, right? He took a team that won 5 games last year, turned them around, and they've won 5 straight this year. That is kudos to the coach, Brian Flores, right now, coach of the year. They should be higher on your list, George.
I don't know who I bumped there. I know you guys just saw him. I mean, I don't know who I bumped there. The only team I can see them moving up to is 14. Other than 14, they're right about where they should be.
Yeah, you drank the Arizona.
I feel like 11 and 12.
You drank the Arizona Justice. The Cardinals were one big play away from losing to both AFC East teams. And they couldn't – obviously, that was a miracle. That play was insane. I mean, the Houston Texans
they're going to keep riding that momentum, man.
The Houston Texans are really just vying for the position of the suckiest franchise or Jets. They're going to go neck and neck to give that guy up and to go and to you see the difference. I mean, what they're doing right now is insane. I mean, the Texans suck.
Everyone wants out. Wants out. There's nobody playing for the team right now. So yeah, it's pretty sad. I mean, that Hopkins really killed that franchise right now.
Right, but what I'm saying is you're number 10,
first place right now in the toughest division in the league, and you have them at 10. I think I would bump them up a little bit higher. I would definitely bump them up above the Rams, even though the Rams are playing pretty solid football right now.
John just got saying how bad Arizona was.
Yeah, well,
I think Arizona a lot more than you guys do, though. I think Kyler Murray is
Arizona's defense is not great. They're not. Arizona is explosive on offense, but they're susceptible to getting up a lot of points on defense. The Dolphins exposed them. The Bills exposed them. I mean, Arizona had no business winning that game. It took an absolute miracle for them to beat the Bills on their field. And guess what? They didn't beat the Dolphins. And then you look at the team right above them. The Rams got rolled by the Dolphins. And I mean, so I don't see how you can justify
you keep hanging your hat on that, but the Rams were on a short week and the Miami was on a bye week, so you can call that all you want. But if they play each other this Sunday, let's bet who wins. I mean, the Rams shit out.
I'm pretty sure that Jared Goff is having nightmares right now about that game, and I'm pretty sure that Jared Goff is not a mobile quarterback. The only teams that have given the Dolphins trouble are teams with mobile quarterbacks. That's it. The guy stands in the pocket. He's not a moving target, and they eat those quarterbacks up.
So right here on Your Team Sucks, we're crowning the Dolphins as the fucking Super Bowl champions right now.
No.
There's only a few teams that can beat a mobile quarterback.
I'm just looking at your number. I'm looking at 8, 9, and 10. And you're biased. That's all I'm saying. You're biased.
How am I biased? There's no biance in my – I got the Cowboys 30. I got the Cowboys 30.
Seattle, you still have Seattle above the Rams in Arizona, and they've taken a shit the last 2 weeks. And I mean, we'll see next week. I believe Arizona plays Seattle Sunday, right?
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
I think you have the Colts too high on this, even though I like them up at 5. And then Green Bay barely beat the Jags by 4 points, barely. And you're leaving them at number 4. You didn't watch that game? Or what?
You're going to judge them on a game against Jacksonville when they're really, really trying? You're going to judge them in that game? That's the game you want to judge them on? I'm smarter than that.
Wait. But you're judging.
Games they've played.
that. You're judging based on short weeks and bye weeks and all that stuff. I mean, so what was Green Bay's excuse? I mean, you had the number 31 team that gave them a scare, and you got them at number 4. I tend to agree with Jordan there.
They were overlooking this game, they didn't care about this game. They already W'd it up. And they got
I think you got to look at defense here in some of these people on the list. I mean, some of these. I mean, I think the Rams have the best defense, obviously, in that division. But then you Green Bay's defense is suspect. The Raiders' defense is suspect. The Bills are inconsistent, but I think you got the Bills in the right place. But I don't know. I just think you got a little bit of NFC bias in your list. That's it.
And the Ravens weren't looking past the Patriots in the rain? Come on.
I don't think anybody looks past the Patriots. I don't care what their record is.
Everybody was
standing on the sideline. Nobody's no, listen, the Patriots may go on a run here. I mean, the Patriots looked good, and they're just a well-coached team. They're going to be in a lot of these games.
Right.
I think the AFC East is the strongest collectively that it's been in 20 years this year.
Oh yeah.
Collectively, right? And so, but yeah, I think 17 is probably low for the Patriots. I think the Patriots are at least probably top 15.
Who do you move down for them? I was looking at that.
I'm not drinking the Vikings Kool-Aid because running
I mean, that running game is looking so good the last 3-4 games. It's scary. I mean, really, really scary, that running game.
Yeah, but what happens
healthy, they're in trouble.
When you face a team
the Browns running game?
What happens when you face a team that can score points, that can put points on the board? I mean, you're not going to be able to just solely rely on that running back. I mean, you're going to.
I don't know. They scored 6 touchdowns 2 weeks ago. So
the Bears are horrible, by the way. I mean, the Bears are pretty bad. I think they're probably too high on your list anyway. But I mean, the Bears' offense is a joke. I mean, it's laughable.
It's just Bears. I don't know who they are.
We'll see what happens without Foles now.
I think they'll be better off without Foles.
Yeah, Foles is. I've never seen a quarterback that is just so either on fire or shit. I mean, that guy is either just like the greatest quarterback you've ever seen and makes miracles happen, or he looks like he shouldn't even be in the NFL. There isn't much in between, right?
Yeah, he's definitely hit or miss. Well, I thought I was going to get a little more guff about the Raiders being 6, but other than that, and maybe Miami moving up 1 slot, I'm happy with my list.
Yeah, I think we can scores to move the Dolphins up a spot.
No, like I told you yesterday, I told Jordan yesterday, I had Miami up above it until I saw the Vikings play Monday night.
Yeah, well,
and I moved them down.
I think, too, another thing to keep in mind is that when the Dolphins played early in the season, the Bills, and they also played Seattle, they lost both those games, but they didn't have Tua playing. And if you watch any of these games, guess what? Newsflash, Tua is a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I didn't think that was ever a question. I was surprised everyone was entertaining his "I'm butthurt, they're sitting me down." You're not as good as this kid. What the fuck do you think was going to happen?
No, and it was ridiculous how people questioned Brian Flores and said it's an audition. That's not how he rolls. And no, that kid is one of the most, at least for a young quarterback, he's incredibly accurate. Some of the throws he makes are insane, and he can manage the game. He can absolutely manage the game, and if you need to score points, he can open it up and do that. So it's got to be solid football player.
There's some really impressive young quarterbacks out there this next couple of years. Yeah. I mean, there's a really good class of young quarterbacks out there.
Yeah, Hebert is excellent, but the Dolphins' defense definitely exposed him a little bit as well, too. By the way, don't throw at X. Don't throw at Xavier Howard. It's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. He's had one really questionably bad game where he got a bunch of PI calls against Arizona, against the best wide receiver who performed a miracle last week. Besides that, just about every time they throw at him, the kid picks the ball off, right? And but you don't. It's so funny. You don't hear about those two cornerbacks. By the way, two ex-Cowboys just balling. Jones in Miami, and who's the little guy from freaking Buffalo, dude, who's just balling.
Oh, you talking about Cole Beasley?
Beasley? I've always liked him.
How the hell did these Cowboys? How do they let these guys walk out the door? I mean, Cole Beasley is a baller, and so is Jones. I mean, these guys are playing great football, and the Cowboys just let them walk out the door. It's part of the reason the Cowboys are ranked number 30 on George's list.
You can say that about any team, though. Look at all the great players Miami's let walk recently. That's all I could think during that Chargers game is how did you let Kalen Ballage go for nothing? They just cut him. And, I mean, that guy's good. He's big. He moves. He catches. Oh, we'll cut him, right?
They won, Jordan. They're perfectly fine. They got another undrafted free agent that got almost as many yards in the game as him because they're a team.
I get it, but you got Kalen Ballage on a rookie contract who's costing you nothing, and you just cut him. They just didn't see the talent there. How did they let Wes Welker go? How did they let a whole bunch of people go? I mean, you can say that about any team, and it's the player and the system.
Well, yeah, I mean, pre-Ryan Flores, the Dolphins were terrible with decision making. I mean, now look at the damn coach they hired. They hired freaking Adam Gase to try to actually win ball games. There was a ton of talent on that team. If you give it a good coach that team, they probably would have contended to win the damn division because there was a bunch of talent on that team. But the coach sucked. The coach is bad. Who's that coach? He is now the coach of the New York Jets. His name is Adam Gase, and he sucks. Do you think Des Bryant will be an impact player for the Ravens? Definitely got to be a Cowboy fan.
Did he get any playing time? I didn't watch the game.
I'll give that one to George.
I don't think he's going to do much. I mean, he's going to hopefully open up their field a little bit because they have nobody to throw to downfield. But I don't see him doing too much to impact, make a big impact or not.
I agree. I think at this point, at his age, expect him to have slowed down a little bit. He's still a big body jump ball catcher. And so in the red zone, he gives them another target to move the sticks. Think of him more of like a Devin Funchess at this point in his career than what we're used to seeing from him.
Yeah, I think all in all, that when I look at your list, and I appreciate you putting the list together every week, I really do. But I think you got a little bit of bias in there, especially for the NFC West. That has been owned for the most part by other teams in the AFC. I think there's a little bias in there for Aaron Rodgers, and and definitely a little bias there because you're a closet Raider fan too. And I think so. To say the Raiders are that much better than even the Dolphins, I don't know. But you know what? We're going to find out in December when the Dolphins visit the Raiders in Las Vegas. And we'll get to see it head up, right?
There you go.
Should be fun.
I'll be confident.
I'm a big believer in that a workman-like defense, solid defense, is going to bring a team a long way. And when you go down this list, the Steelers have it. The Saints have it. The Chiefs have it, I believe. The Colts have it. The Raiders don't have it. The Bucs definitely have a solid defense. Seattle is a disaster on defense, which I think Seattle should be down way further down on this list at this point. The Rams definitely have it. Arizona, very questionable on defense. The Bills, inconsistent but solid. Ravens, solid defense. Titans, I don't know. But I think if you look at the Vikings and Dolphins, Dolphins have a better defense than a lot of these teams that are in your top 15, for sure. And I wouldn't have said that 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had to see it all for myself, but I'm starting to believe that the Fins are for real, and I think they should be maybe top 12 on your list here. Jordan?
I think Arizona reminds me a lot of what the Chiefs did last year. They have pieces on that defense, just they're scoring so many points You know, they're still in games. The defense hasn't gelled yet, but you have Budda Baker, Patrick Peterson, Chandler Jones. I mean, the pieces are there for this defense to get a lot better. They have the stars. They just need to get a little bit more solid. And if their defense just ticks up just a little bit, Murray is a legitimate MVP candidate. I love the air raid offense. They've got maybe the best wide receiver core in the league. You got to love what Arizona's doing right now.
Yep. George, any final thoughts on your list?
Well, this week I get to see the Raiders play the Chiefs, so we're going to really see what's going to, how real the Raiders are. They beat them already once. If they beat them again, then what do you say?
They're not going to beat them again.
If they beat them again, then it's undeniable the Raiders deserve that spot and probably even higher if they beat them. It's a division game. Now they have film on what the Raiders are going to do. The Raiders are trying to just outscore them and outrun them.
They're going to bully you. They're going to come and bully you. Can you stop it or not?
Yeah, we'll see. Luke, when are you going to be back in the States, Luke? You ever come
Monday?
back?
Yeah, I'm coming back. I'll be there Monday. No, Sunday.
All right. Well, let us know how you felt about our list. Like, share, all that. We'll see you next time. Peace.